menstruate. So those sex steroid hormones like estrogen and progesterone, they leak out of our sweat about this far around us. And that's why if you're living with another woman, or if you're sitting across the desk every day, then particles of hormone from my sweat would go through the skin of the other woman.
If she's within what distance?
I mean, you wouldn't have to be sitting next to each other. If you live together, then that means you're interacting enough that it would happen.
Okay.
So particles
but not if you work together.
If you work together and you sit right next to each other every day, then it does happen too. So, in a small office that's got like 6 girls in it, that the menstrual synchronization will happen. Interestingly, it's led by the alpha female. So, yeah. So you can work out, if you don't know already, who the alpha female is. Well, if basically, let's say my cycles don't change and everyone says, oh, I got my period early, or I haven't had my period yet, but now it's started, then that would mean that probably I was the alpha female.
How does the body know who the alpha female is?
That will be to do with levels of testosterone.
Why does that matter who the alpha female is? Why does it matter that they sync up with her?
I don't know if it really matters. I think it's just a case of physiology. So it's a little bit like in the troops of gorillas, the stress levels of the silverback gorilla affect the other gorillas more than gorillas who are peers to each other. So we have a natural hierarchy. It must be related to survival as well.
So she was probably the person who the alpha male was going to impregnate first.
Probably.
So everyone needs to kind of fall in line, because when she starts having sex, they need to be ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also it'll probably be to do with things like, survival genes. So it'll be the people with the hardiest genes, because that's what you'll want to pass on as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, makes sense. Most resilient. Okay,
so where were we?
Stress and contagion. We've done all the hormones and the menstrual cycle
So
stuff.
basically cortisol is a hormone that works in that same way. So cortisol is the main stress hormone. And this one doesn't matter if you're male or female, but it does matter where you are in the hierarchy of the organization, as I just mentioned. So usually in that conversation that I mentioned to you, where you go into a room and you just feel completely drained afterwards, usually the person that comes out feeling drained is less senior than the person that's had that effect on them. And that's why this is so crucial to leadership, because your stress levels as a leader, as a CEO, are going to have more impact on everybody else than the rest of the people put together, basically. So managing your stress is obviously important for you, but it's important in terms of what happens to other people. And the first issue I came up against was CEOs and CFOs that said, well, I won't show them that I'm stressed. I won't tell them what's happening with the numbers. I won't display emotions in front of them. And I said, they're still going to know physiologically. It's going to impact them. So now you really have to do something about it. And the other thing about cortisol, which is quite funny, well, one of the side effects is quite funny, is that as a survival mechanism, it will help you to store fat around your abdomen. So, again, in the cave, if you were potentially going to not find food for a month, then if you had extra fat around your abdomen, you could digest that and survive till you could find food. So with my clients in financial services, it got to a point where as soon as I walked into the room, they just lift their T-shirt up and say, now you know how I've been in the last month.
So stress causes belly fat?
Belly fat that's really hard to shift. So again, what I would see with people is that they would say, oh, I've put on a bit of weight around the middle, had to loosen the belt a bit. So I've started eating less, I've started exercising more, and I still can't shift it. And again, that's when I would explain this is the impact of cortisol. As long as you're still leaking out extra cortisol, nothing's going to change. So